So let's talk about the young adult books and the literary fiction I read in February, and we'll also talk about what I'm currently reading. I am rereading the Harry Potter series. I am so excited. This is only my second time through the series, so I'm curious to see everything through the lens of actually knowing what's coming down the pipeline. In February, I finished the first book, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. My favorite part was little Ginny running after the Hogwarts train and knowing who she's going to grow up into. So good. You can kind of tell J.K. Rowling is still finding her feet a little in the world, but you can see how it's all going to be fleshed out and made rich, and you can just see the starts of so many things. Do you think generations from now they're going to be dissecting Harry Potter like we dissect Shakespeare? Next, I'm going to read Chamber of Secrets, which, as I've said before, is my least favorite of the series, so I'm interested in reading it again to see if my opinion has changed. So for the Hollywood Booklets Book Club, we read Tell the Wolves I'm Home by Carol Rifka Brunt. This was my pick, but I honestly thought it was a Little Red Riding Hood retelling or something. It's not. I'd classify this more as a literary fiction. It's the 80s, and June's uncle, who is her favorite person in the whole world, dies of AIDS. Her family blames his partner Toby, and the story is really about the friendship that develops between June and Toby. I like this book because of Toby. Toby is a great character. I don't ever really connect with June. She's kind of meh. This book is one of those where everything is heavy with second meaning. Even AIDS in the story, you come to realize it's used as kind of a corollary for how corrosive the human emotion of jealousy can really be. In most books, I'd get a little eye-rolly at such in-your-face metaphoring, but it works well in the story. I read the second book in the dystopian YA series, The Selection by Kiera Cass. This is The Elite. I loved the first book in this series, but I struggled to get through this one. Both America and Maxon became kinda dislikable in this book. She keeps changing her mind 180 degrees on a dime repeatedly, and it makes some less than stellar decisions. It was just kind of painful to watch them muck everything up so very painfully. I've heard conflicting views that book 3 either redeems itself or doesn't, so I need a consensus. Tell me which way you think book 3 goes. I'm going to read it eventually anyway, but I want to know if I should go in with trepidation. I am currently reading Les Mis. This was on my classics TBR. I just finished Brave New World, so it was either pick up this one or pick up Moby Dick. And I decided against all the fishing for the time being. I've never seen Les Mis the musical, so I actually have no idea about the plot. I'm already 6% of the way through, which I'm really proud of myself for. But the first 5% or so is just describing the bishop, which is actually really funny and good. This part was a lot lighter than I expected. Jean Valjean has just been introduced in the last percent, so I expect the meat of the plot is coming up, right? So far, I'm really enjoying it, but then again, nothing really sad has happened yet, so I am reading A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab for this month's Hollywood Booklets Book Club. Last fall we read Vicious and really liked it, so when we heard she had a new book coming out, we were in. This just came out like last week, so I'm at the very beginning, but it's got this really cool multiverse system where each parallel universe there's a different version of London, which our main character calls like Red London or Grey London, etc. It's super interesting so far. I'm also reading Predictably Irrational: The Hidden Forces That Shape Our Decisions by Dan Ariely. This is obviously not fiction. It is fascinating. I always love anything about the way our brain works. I think it's important to understand that oftentimes our brains are hardwired to play certain tricks on us. If we're aware of it, we can sort of counteract it to a certain extent. And it also helps keep us from becoming arrogant you-know-whats who think every decision we've ever made is a shining example of logic and rightness. We're all human, and that's fascinating. I am co-reading Americana with one of my coworkers. I'm about halfway through. This is about two Nigerians who are high school sweethearts whose lives take different routes. She leaves to go to school in America and he ends up an illegal immigrant in the UK. It's really interesting so far. Okay, so what are you currently reading? Anything exciting?